Hey, you guys, hope you're well. I just wanted to take this opportunity and let you know about our amazing new business scalability scorecard. So have you ever wondered if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, and you want to grow and scale the business, but not sure how, and you're looking for some advice and you're looking for some strategies about how you could effectively grow and scale your business? Well, this is your opportunity. We have actually created an amazing business scalability scorecard. It'll take you around 7 to 8 minutes. And at the end of that, it will actually create a report of all of the things that you're doing particularly well in and the things that you need to make improvements to your business. And it's a great tool and a great asset for your business. To get free access to that, go to bit.ly/business-scalability-scorecard. Go there, go now. Take care, see you soon.
This is the Game Changers Experience. Deep dive conversations with leading business disruptors, Olympic athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and influencers from around the world. This show will teach you insights about the winning principles in mindset, productivity, marketing, branding, entrepreneurship, business strategy, and more. Hosted by Productivity Authority, business strategist, former elite athlete, author, and public speaker, Adam Strong.
Hi, Adam. How are you today?
Good, doing good. Yourself?
I'm good. Just started the day with some Clubhouse talks, which were amazing about empowerment in Black communities. So I'm like all powered up.
I love it.
So tell me, Adam. I always start with some storyline. Who is Adam? And I'm not just curious here about your work side, but also the personal side. Share a little bit about yourself.
Who is Adam? Well, Adam's been in entrepreneurship since the age of 11. We grew up, obviously, being British. I'm from the UK. We didn't really have a lot, if I'm honest with you, when we grew up. I'm not the type of person that was kind of given everything as a child. In fact, quite the opposite. So some weeks it will be even very difficult to even get the very basics, milk and bread, to even feed ourselves, because we lived off the state, and it just, life was quite tough. And, being a single parent, my mum was a single parent at the time, couldn't work. It was difficult, with two young boys growing up, including myself. And interestingly enough, we started off in a top floor flat, which was like an apartment, which was about 4 floors up. But then we moved across town. And so I'd already started off my first sort of real business. I started collecting golf balls. That was where it all started for me. But then I needed to change tact when essentially we moved across town, because it was just too far to travel. And so one of the things that I had to do straight away is I had to think to myself, how can I help contribute towards like the household right now? What can I do, right? This is me at the age of 11, okay? So what I started to do is we lived on this big, massive housing estate, and some of them were townhouses, which are like 3 floors up. Some of them were apartments, some of them were semi-detached houses. And there was one thing that I noticed on a Sunday. And on a Sunday, it was the fact that some people were washing their cars and other people just hated washing their cars. So I decided one day I was going to go around with the same bucket that I collected the golf balls with, going around knocking on people's doors and asking them if they wanted their cars washed. So, and it's interesting how this worked, because I always found that the houses with the 3 floors, which were the townhouses, those were the ones that always said yes. And the guys or the people that lived in the apartments or the houses, they'd generally say no. And it wasn't like, it was just a general observation. So literally, I didn't have any money, by the way. I just had my bucket. I didn't have enough money for soap. I got some money together for a sponge. So I had like a car jumbo sponge. And then they'd fill up my bucket. I'd wash the car. And it was such a busy Sunday. Literally, I got so busy in such a short period of time. I had to get my brother in at the same time. We ended up doing double the amount of the car, splitting 50-50, and then giving some of that money towards my mum's weekly groceries. So for me, that's when it really began, really sort of hustling and bustling at the very beginning. And and that's where it's kind of given me that taste of appetite. One thing that I really learned, actually, Andrea, is when I was knocking on the doors, because it was like cold selling, right? Hey, do you want a car wash? Hey, do you want a car wash? Hey, do you want a car wash? No. Like, you get, for every someone that you knock on the door, you're going to get 6 or 7 no's. But for me, being a young boy, I'm like, okay, no worries. And then just walk on, right? But us entrepreneurs and business people, we tend to take it really badly sometimes. When someone says no, it might not necessarily mean no. It might necessarily mean no now, but it might not necessarily mean no later on down the line. And we become very, what I call, emotionally attached to the outcome. And then you start to eat into your subconscious mind. You start to think to yourself, oh, am I good enough? Am I, what are people doing judging me and things like that? So all the limiting beliefs start to kick in. But actually, all of that things is completely irrelevant. The reality is that not everyone is lining up to buy your product or service. The reality is that you just got to keep going, right? You just got to keep going. You're gonna get some no's. And for me, when I was doing my car washing, this is what I learned really quickly. For every 10 knocks, I'd get 1 or 2 yeses, and then I would just continue to go, right? It's exactly the same in business, ladies and gents, right? Nothing changes, right? That's the way it is. And it's the same with I went to elite athletics in distance running, and that was a great experience, because that's where I met my former training partner, who's the current world and Olympic world champion in 5,000 and 10,000 meters. And then obviously grew up into, believe it or not, because again, everything that I did was I supported myself, like college, school, university, paid for everything, literally myself, no family support, 0 mentors, 0 coaches. So I had to go out and really kind of, I wouldn't say fend for myself, but really kind of earn the right to be able to move forwards, really. So, I'm enjoying life. I'm here in the Mediterranean, and, I love what I do, and I love working with entrepreneurs and 6 to 7 figure professional business owners in helping them to establish in order to help them to establish more around values-driven, purpose-driven, fun, impactful businesses. That's what we do. That's what we create. Cheers.
I love the story, and I think it's, as Gita said, that it's really inspiring, like hearing this kind of stories. And then she's saying thank you. And Christian, your old friend, is also here. She's following you, so she's also tuning in.
Hello.
And Sridona is also here. So thank you very much for everyone who is tuning in. And I think the part that I'm really curious about it in these stories, there's always a difference between people who have courage or who doesn't have the courage. So I'm interested in the point that makes people curious and encourageable enough to start something like that at a young age, because that is the difference between someone who makes a success in business and not. So what is the trigger for you, if you have to explain that one moment, that what triggered you to take the courage and go out as a kid? Like, what's the motivation behind?
Well, the question is you have to ask yourself is, what have I got to lose? That's the only question you have to ask yourself is, what have I got to lose? I've got everything to gain and everything to lose. If I don't do this, okay, then what are the consequences? Well, nothing changes. If I do move forwards and I step out of my comfort zone, then guess what? Things could potentially change. Doors could potentially open. The universe could reward me, whatever it might be. But you got to kind of look at it and weigh it up here, rather than rather than giving yourself excuses or BS about trying to talk yourself out of it. Because really, the only way that you can move forward and learn and grow is by getting yourself out of the comfort zone. That's the only way you can do it.
I think that's a great tip to just to what do you have to lose? There are other people in many other kind of situation, which is much worse than yours. So just go out there and try it and do it. And we say, try and fail in Hungary.
Exactly.
Go and,
yeah.
And I really love your background as an athlete, as a dancer. I'm really resonating with this part of yours. Tell me, what did you learn from being an athlete? What did it give you as an entrepreneur, as a person? How did sport and athletics make your life more fulfilled?
Yeah, it's a great question. I actually started off in athletics. Believe it or not, I wouldn't say I was bad at sport, but I would say I was an average Joe, right? I wasn't particularly great. And it was purely because I was asthmatic. So, every time I did something like running, I would have I'd have an asthma attack or something like that, So something bad would happen to me. I wasn't conditioned to think like that. But within 6 months of training and persevering, my asthma completely disappeared. And so what did that give me? Well, I also lost my hair through alopecia at the age of 10, which was a year before I started athletics. So as you can imagine, as a young kid, confidence is king, right? And it's the same in business, right? The more that you do something, the more confident that you become. Okay, it's a bit like if I ask you to do 20 press ups a day, right? Generally, most people aren't very good at press ups at the beginning, but then after weeks of perseverance, you might start with 5, then you increase to 6, and you increase to 8, and so forth. As you start to do that, your body starts to get conditioned, right? And it's exactly the same with athletics. Firstly, it gave me increased confidence, right? Confidence as a person, confidence to stand up for myself, and confidence to just not take shit from anybody else. Because I was bullied a lot as a kid. So that's the first thing. Secondly, persistence, right? You've got or what I like to call it tenacity, right? So the ability to be able to, if you're being knocked down time and time again, right? Okay, it's the ability to be able to get back up every single time. Now, on most occasions, once you get knocked down that many times, some people give up, right? And then they go back to what they know best, which is go back to a job or whatever it might be. But persistence. But the biggest thing I would say is this: your mindset. Because if you don't have a springboard, if you don't have a foundation to condition a mindset, okay, to be able to take things forward, okay, you're just not cut up to be. If anyone tells you, you know what, Andrea, running a business or being an entrepreneur is easy, I call that BS, because I can tell you now, apart from parenting as well, because I'm a parent, running a business is the second hardest things you will ever do in your entire life. And if you want to earn your first 100,000 US dollars, it's one of the most hardest things that you can potentially do. First 100,000. Between 100,000 and a million, it's a bit easier. And then when it gets to a million, it then starts to struggle again. And that's where these cycles really kick in and things like that. But listen, mindset was that. And then the last thing I think for me is self-discipline. So habits, if you look at all the different habits of successful entrepreneurs and athletes, they're the habit of discipline. They've developed the habit of discipline, of being able to just get their head down, get super laser focused, and get GSD, as I like to get stuff done, right? And we're in May? We're in May now, which is kind of crazy, just how time flies by. We've completed so much stuff. Our team has just flown like there's no tomorrow. And we've created this culture of like excellence within our business. And people feel empowered to just get on with things without being told that it's not good enough or whatever it might be. But generally, that's what we're about. So I hope that answers your question.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I guess if I have to share my side of dancing, it's the same discipline, all the resilience, keeping up endurance, systematic thinking, improvising. There are so many things that you learn from all these sports, be it any kind of sport, right? Which makes you stronger physically and then mentally also, and gives you a mindset. Like you see a coach in front of you who is pushing you, so you will always have this mindset of growing, that you want to grow, you are curious to grow, just because it's happening to you every single time when you go to train. So I really encourage people to follow Adam also, and just be an athlete or be a dancer or be anyone who does some regular sports, even running. Jeg is also running, so she's saying that she was a marathon runner till the age of 42, and she got a lot from that, and I can see it on her because she's so energetic and so committed and so disciplined when it's about assignments and anything. So you can see it, how she performs. So I love this part, and I think we are really good connection here with the high performing and the high performance, that you are also working on helping leaders to become high performers and entrepreneurs to become high performers. And let's just make the definition first clear. So what is high performance in business? What do you mean under it? And what are the steps that people have to go through to get there?
Yeah, high performance to me is essentially being able to achieve your potential. That's what I see as people call it peak performance, peak potential, right? So that to me, that's what high performance, right? It's being able to excel in what you do, have passion for what you do, because passion is really, really important. Because if you have more passion, you have more love, you have more alignment, and your values are more concrete, right? So you live by those values every single day. And so, that to me is what high performance is. It's something which is created through excellence in what you do, okay? Like for me, in what we do in our business, with our team, I only hire A players. I never hire B players, C players. I only hire the best of the best, because otherwise, if I hire B or C players, it's going to take them more time, it's going to cost me more money, and it's going to slow me down. And for me, speed is the currency, right? Speed and trust. Those are the two forms of currency that we have today. Speed of execution. So you need to be able to execute quickly and fast. And then 2, trust, because we live in the digital world as such, and you've got to be able to, the question is not about how can I sell more? The question is not about why are people not buying my products? That's not the question. The question is, how can I increase the speed of which I can develop trust with my key audience? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So that's what high performance is. And then what was I going to say? There was another question I think that you asked. Can you rephrase the question again, the second part?
Yes. So after we know already what is high performance, peak performance, so what are the steps in short that people have to go through to get there?
Yeah. So the steps to creating high performance is, number 1, make sure that you are living by your values. Okay. Everyone knows what their values are generally, but making sure that you're aligned to your values, but you're living by them and you're not compromising them. Super, super, super important. So that's the first thing. Secondly, just make sure that you've got some decent goals, right? And for me, what's important is that I didn't bring it with me, but I've got what they call a business blueprint. That's for my business, but also personal goals. You have personal goals and you have business goals, right? So I have personal goals with my spouse and my family. A vision for that, and then I have a vision for my business, and then and any other projects that's going on. So that's the second thing. Thirdly, for me, energy, right? I'm a real big thing into energy, right? If I turn up with high energy like I am right now, okay, people are attracted to energy, okay? People love, there's enough negativity out there, right? Just switch on the TV and you'll see it, okay? Or listen to the radio, you'll hear that. People are attracted to high energy output people because breathe confidence, you know? So for me, like when we're doing stuff together, even on our podcast, even on our YouTube show, even when we're delivering a program, I make sure that the energy levels are sustained at a high level. So energy is super, super important. And I would say the last thing for me is getting into the zone. So athletes are extremely good at getting into the zone. What do I mean by getting into the zone is complete and personal to you, right? So what I mean by getting in the zone is basically, if you can imagine, and it's I'll try to describe it the best way I can, but the zone is essentially a place where not only are you super focused, but you have the ability to be you. You have the ability to give as much value without expectation, but you're really enjoying what you're doing, if that makes sense, right? And you're super focused. Let me give an example. If I'm a sprinter, okay, and I'm on the track and I'm ready to race and 200-meter sprint or whatever it might be, I'm going to be looking down the lanes, right? I'm going to be looking down the running track. I'm not going to be aware. I don't care what's going around with me. There's just too much noise and distraction. Exactly the same as running a business. Way too much noise and distraction out there. So you've got to get yourself in that zone. We just actually completed my third published book this week. And I tell you what, if I didn't get up and do the early mornings, if I didn't persevere, we've been a co-collab book with some other people, and bringing people together can be very, very challenging. But if you don't have that self-discipline, then you just don't get stuff done. So really important to get that. But that for me, those are what I call the intricacies of high performance.
I think it's a great point for Geeta, because Geeta was saying that that's her problem also, that she's not disciplined enough, and she gets so sidetracked very easily. And I have to say that, today we are so much disrupted by everything else around us. We are pushed to be online everywhere. We push to just produce all these tremendous amount of content, and in the meantime we are forgetting about caring about what matters, the business itself, and the structure and the strategy and the steps and the action and just to implement what we learn. So people go to hundreds of webinars and workshops and everything, and they don't implement what they learn. They don't sit down and pace down and then do what it takes. So I really appreciate this feedback, Adam. And what came to my mind, and I wanted to ask from you, is the flow. You remember from Csikszentmihalyi, it's a very important thing to be in that flow. And as a dancer, I'm experiencing it every time when I'm on the floor, because you just don't realize the time is passing by. You are just in that right moment. So have you experienced the flow, or is it very similar to the flow that you were talking about when you were exercising?
Bit different, actually. Interestingly enough, we were talking about flow already this week. In fact, on Wednesday, we talked about flow. I was interviewing a chap, a good friend of mine, one of our co-authors, and we were talking about flow momentum, and we were describing what flow meant. And so flow is the ability to be able to go without resistance, right? So it's a bit like if you're going downhill on a bicycle, right? You don't need to worry about friction. You don't need to worry about the wind trying to take you off the bike. You just go, right? So for me, flow is about being able to move into the zone where you are basically super focused on a specific project. This is what flow to me is. And then I can go super fast because I'm so super pumped about the vision that I'm effectively making it happen, right? That's what flow is. That's what momentum is. And I'm then energized through I'm energized basically from the achievements that and let me give you an example. We, last year we did a huge summit, massive online summit. First one ever, like huge one. 31 speakers, 31 days, 7 weeks from idea to execution, 2,000 people, 2,100 people went through that. But I was in free flow state. The reason I was in free flow state is because I was enjoying what I was doing. It was bloody hard work, don't get me wrong, but I was loving every minute of it. Literally, because it's a bit like doing a bit of a workout, right? When it becomes a really good feeling for you, and you get energized from that, and then at the very end, you kind of think to yourself, you can see the goal and the vision that you want to create. It's becoming, it's happening, and the only way that it's not going to happen is if you stop, right? And it's very difficult to stop when you're in a flow state, because it's like you're in this, what I call euthorium, or eutheria. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it is euthorium. It's this kind of state of like, oh wow, I'm kind of really enjoying myself type of thing, of a state of happiness. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like I'm kind of smoking something or whatever it is, but it's but it's literally like a state of happiness where effectively, you're so aligned to what you're doing and you're giving so much back. And for me, when we create stuff like that, and it's always free, by the way, is we love to give back. Like, it's one of our core values. We love to add value to people, but we have zero expectation from people, and that's a really important part, because if you expect from other people, like if I expect something to come off the back of this, like, then I'm going to be very disappointed. And so the best thing to do is to come up with, give as much as you can possibly can. And I'm a real big believer in the manifestation and law of attraction, is that the more that you give, the more that you get back. The universe will reward you in many different ways. Now, some people might say to me, well, Adam, that's really good, and I love what you're saying. However, I'm still waiting, okay? I'm still waiting. I used to have this question, Andrea. I'm still waiting for that. Oh, yeah, it's been months now. How long? And but the reality is that, it's all to do with the universe will reward you at times that you least expect it. And again, otherwise you have these expectations or whatever it is. So I hope that kind of answers the question.
No, I was just laughing because it's like totally, we are so aligned, you cannot even imagine. And I'm not answering this, or I'm not explaining this. Just read Christian's comment that it's really reminding her of my last year's struggle when I was organizing the same 4-year summit and being live and organizing alone. And it was huge. And I got so drained after it. But the organizing and the whole thing, I just felt like I'm in a good meaning racing tunnel. I just wanted that when you are on the stage or when you were on the tracks as an athlete, I felt the same thing during the 3 months when I was organizing this, because it was giving me so much pleasure to create something and give it to the people for free, and then just give this immense value to the people. And I think it's the same what you had, that people don't understand that they have to do the things to experience the joy, to experience the getting back. You have to do it. You cannot wait. You cannot just stand and say someone else will do it and then you join in, because it's not the same feeling when you accomplish something, and it's giving you so much power after it when you manage to do it, right, Adam?
True.
It's amazing. I just love how similar we are. Gita is here, and then she has a question. So how do you prolong the flow state? So she's saying that she's going in and out it, and how do I not let negative things bring me down and stop the flow state? That's her question.
Yeah, it is a good question, actually. And I think the first question you have to ask yourself is, you have to develop what I call perceptual awareness. And what do I mean by that? It's basically, so if I'm in a state of flow, right, Gita? If I'm in a state of flow and say halfway through whatever it is that I'm focusing on, whatever that might be, I get distracted or whatever it is. I need to be aware of what's distracting me. What can I do to prevent that from affecting me emotionally, spiritually, physically, and mentally? How can I control that? Yeah. So, and I don't know what that negativity might be. It might be your voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough, right? Or whatever it might be, okay? But again, it goes back to how powerful is your vision. And I'm really big into vision. And if you create a big enough vision that's going to help people and it's aligned to your values, then you shouldn't need to get them out of flow state at all, okay? It's just when that nagging voice in the back of your head thinking you're not good enough, this person's doing better than you start making judgments and things like that. But really you shouldn't need to, because you moved into getting into that zone, which we already talked about. If you moved into that and you focus on that vision and what you want to create, then you shouldn't have any problems with flow state. So I hope that kind of answers your question, but that's what it does to me. So I need to really kind of be see, it was that voice telling you. So there you go. It was. And the thing is that you just have to tell your voice, you know what? No, I am better than what you say I am. No. And it's like kind of this, it's a bit like playing devil's advocate, right? You've got one person saying, oh, yes, you can do it, Gita. Yes, you can do it. Then you've got the other person saying, no, you can't do it. No, you can't do it. And it's kind of this like battle between the two. And it's kind of, you have to keep them in check, right? But the reality is that the other thing is, well, which really worked for me in the early stages is I kept on conditioning my mindset. And one of the best things that I did, actually, I use YouTube videos, right? So there was this thing where I typed in, and I did this particularly when I was working out in the gym and stuff. I typed in the best motivational video ever. And there'll be these like mixture of athletes, Hollywood stars, celebrities, and things like that, right? And they'll be speaking to me in a way, in a soft and a high tone voice, and a mixture of, it'll be like Rocky Balboa or whatever it is, telling me, yes, you can do it. Yes, you want to do it. Yes, yes, yes. And so it kind of like gets you super pumped. You're like, okay, let's go take on the world type of thing. So you got to find something that really kind of helps control that. And that's just what worked for me.
That's great advice. Hope, Gita, that helps. And I think there's another aspect to this before we go further with one of the other questions that I want to point out from earlier. What the other aspect we always forget, that now everywhere online, and we mentioned, we are pushed to be present. We are pushed to do more than we maybe can. So it's really important to do quality and focused work according to your own level of capacity, right? What do you think about this, Adam? Because I feel that people are pressured to do much more than a normal human being is capable of. And people saying Alzheimer's is just crashing back because in the 30s already of the people, just because technology is overwhelming us. So how can people set boundaries and still keep energized and have that flow?
Yeah, again, goes back to your core values at the end of the day. I'm really big into core values, right? And again, if it's not aligned and it doesn't match to you as the person, then you have to then re-question yourself and think, what am I doing? Does it give me, like, let me tell you, like, for me, there are 3 to 5 core values I live by every day. And so if they don't match what I do in terms of my activity and my output every day, then generally I'm not going to be the A player. I'm not going to come up with excellence. I'm not going to be it with high energy. I'm not going to be passionate and love and alignment, all of that great stuff. I'm basically just doing stuff because I think that it's correct. But who says it's correct? Who says that? But it's just me telling me what's right and what's wrong. But again, it goes back to your core values at the end of the day. So for me, I think from my perspective, it's just really about making sure that you're aligned to that, or aligned to those values every single day. What's the other thing? I was going to say something else, but I've kind of lost the flow now. There was something else that was off the top of my head, and it was on the tip of my tongue. I was just about to say it, and then suddenly, oh, damn it. But anyway, I'll come back to it. So, but yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like filtering through your own values, right? Whenever you do something, you filter through your own values, your own boundaries, and then you just do what is really aligned with that. That's the key message, and you just put aside every digital disruption and everything, whatever goes in around the world. And the second thing, what I wanted to get back, because I think it's too much of an important point that you mentioned, it's about hiring high quality people, like not hiring cheap workforce to save money, but rather invest money into your business for high quality people to get the speed. So I would like to talk a little bit about this. Like people tend to, especially at the beginning of your business, right? You don't have so much money, so you tend to save, and then I have like freelancers I'm working with, but yeah, sometimes it's making it easier. Sometimes it took me 2 hours just to get to the point. So what is your point? And tell me a little bit more about this thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's an interesting point. So from my perspective, right, what the beauty about the way that we're living our lives right now is the fact that we have full accessibility to the A players. Whereas before, they were untouchable. Like literally, they were so busy. Didn't matter what they charged, they were so busy because they were getting results for other people. So I used to think, and this is what I'll tell you what I used to think. I used to think, well, you know, I'm gonna spend, I don't know, $10 here, $20 here, whatever it might be, to do this. But the reality is that I found that it took 10 times longer, 10 times more energy, and it distracted me from what I really wanted to do, which was, you know, what I really enjoyed doing about my business, essentially, right? Any activities, and I teach this to a lot of my clients, is it's not your to-do list that you need to create every day. It's your stop doing list. What are the things that you need to stop doing in your business that you can then delegate out? And in fact, we did a great episode yesterday on our podcast, and we talked about it was more a rant around stop doing stuff yourself type of thing, right? It was kind of I just don't get it, right? But listen, I've been there, I've done that, got the t-shirt, I know exactly what people go through at the very beginning, and you have to figure out ways. It's all about self-worth, right? How do you value yourself? So if you value yourself, say for example, I had a goal, okay? And say my goal was that I wanted to earn, say, I don't know, 100 grand a year, right? Just hypothetically speaking. And I'm going to give you 4 weeks holiday because I'm being very generous. And I said that you'd have to do 50 hours a week of working, which is actually pretty conservative for an entrepreneur. So I know that roughly I need to make roughly around $45 an hour in order to really hit those targets. So if I break it down, really break it down, okay? So if I'm doing activities which effectively can be done for less than $45 an hour, then guess what? I need to delegate those stuff out. And then I can focus on, it's like I'm releasing myself from activities that's going to take 10 times longer. So the question you have to ask yourself is, who can I hire that enjoys it more than I do? Who can I hire that's cheaper than me? Who can I hire that is going to do a much better job than me? And who can I hire that essentially is that's gonna deliver the goods at a much higher standard? So if I can find that person that ticks all 4 boxes for me, and guess what? Off you go. See you later. Because I just don't have time. I want to enjoy the things about. And you know, listen, there's certain things that you enjoy in your business. There's certain things I enjoy in my business, and I'm not here to tell you what's right and what's wrong. That's your own decision and your own choices. But ultimately, if you really want to go and attract top talent in your business, okay, then you're gonna need to pay top dollar for it at the end. Top dollar. The thing that I would say is just to make sure that you've got some level of expectation. So expectations are really important in terms of management. And also, the other thing I was going to say to you as well is make sure you do your due diligence, right? So you'll have someone that you might have spoken to and they're good at talking the talk. But the question I have to ask yourself is, are you good at walking the walk? I need to see results. I need to see your case studies. I want to speak to some of your clients. I want to know if they're happy. I want to know if you can deliver the goods to me. Okay. If I'm going to go a little bit more and above, then I need to know, I need to feel reassured that we can work together in alignment, but also we can effectively get results for my clients and things like that. So I think it's really important to make sure that you set those expectations. And yes, there are incentives. Yes, there's bonuses or whatever it might be. But effectively, if you've got those ducks in a row, then that's what you're going to do to attract A players. The last point that I wanted to make as well is making sure that you've created a culture which, number one, we talk about core values, but number one, your personal values matches to your business values, but also the people that you bring in, there is an alignment between their personal values and your business values. Because if there is a misalignment, it ain't going to work. There's going to be conflict in your business and stuff like that. So I want to make sure in my business, for example, in our culture, is that, everyone is high energetic. You take personal responsibility and not blame others. The other thing I was going to say is that if you work hard, you get paid well type of thing, right? So you get compensated accordingly. And let's have fun, which is really super important. For me, it's all about having fun. If you're not having fun what you're doing, we're not aligned to each other. So I hope that kind of helps.
That's great. That's great. Gita is also saying that, yeah, that's a great point. Get help when you need it. Otherwise, you're spending valuable time doing things that takes a full day for you, but may take an hour for another person. So exactly the point here. So maybe it costs you money, but maybe it saves you the time and the money that you would spend on as yourself doing it, and it will cost you in your time much more. And you, as Adam said, you cannot do the things what you love, and then you get frustrated, you get burned out. So just don't go there and hire the good professionals, as Adam said, once you can it, right? Because there are some levels, right, Adam? So at the beginning, you can just search for people who are on your level, and then once the money is starting to come in, then you align it and go for higher levels. So really, really good advice here. So before we go further on with discussing different topics about all the other things that you do, because there are so many things, can you mention a little bit about your podcast and where can people listen to you, so that if they love what you say, then they can follow you and listen to your advices and ideas?
Sure. Well, believe it or not, our podcast, which is called The Game Changers Experience, I believe our wonderful friends in Malaysia, I think it's our third biggest market, believe it or not. So thank you very much to everyone that listens in. It's on all the main podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Podchaser, Spotify, etc. Go to the Game Changers Experience podcast. I believe we're coming up to episode 91. So we've been going since June of last year. We do 2 episodes a week. We have an interview on a Tuesday, and on a Thursday we tend to have a solo episode. And we've actually been we're actually in the top 3% in the world now. I believe there's now 2.3 million podcasts now, which is insane. But effectively, we're in the top 3% globally now, which is fantastic. So we have a lot of listeners over in Malaysia, in India, some in the Philippines as well, and also in the UK and the US. So, it's fun. I enjoy it. It's great. We have a great marketing team as well. So, so you're welcome to come and have a listen to some of the great episodes in there, and listen. Some of the people on there that we've just done some great interviews with are absolutely at the top of their game, from New York Times best-selling authors to Olympic athletes, gold-winning athletes, all the way through to senior authorities, major leaders, thought leaders in their businesses. So yeah.
So today, listeners or the audience, go and follow Game Changers Experience podcast with Adam Strong and learn a lot. And I think it will be so inspiring, just as this talk today. So let's go further. Adam, you are awarded as the best man supporting women. How did this happen? I'm so supporting men who are helping women to be heard. So tell me a little bit about this.
All right, so good question, really. So interestingly enough, there's a story behind this, because there's always a great story behind something. So back in 2014, 2015, something like that, about 6-7 years ago, we was actually working in the corporate well-being space, okay? And so we would go into companies, would help them to increase their productivity and their employee engagement in their business. That's what our goal was, right? And we did it from a holistic lifestyle well-being perspective, okay? So it was looking at not just your physical health, but it was looking at your nutrition. It was looking at your mindset, many different things. So we basically created different stuff, yeah? And so one of the things that we really got stuck in our business was lead generation, like getting your foot into the doorway in the corporations was a real challenge for us. And basically, one of the things that me and my coach at the time came up with is we decided that in order to really get into the spotlight, okay, we needed to get access to the decision makers. And so you can't just walk into someone's office and say, "Excuse me, can I see the boss, please?" They'd be like, "Make an appointment. I've got 2 months waiting list." It's just not going to happen. So you have to then think to yourself, well, who has access to those individuals? Well, generally, it's the personal assistants or the executive assistants of those companies. So one of the things that we did is we created a association, and we called it the Association of Extraordinary PAs, because with a PA or an EA, generally they're the dog's body of the company. Okay, they do everything and anything. They generally know most things operationally, and they're generally the backbone of a company, but they're not recognized in the same ways as maybe a senior manager or someone like that. So we wanted to create a association, which we then did some monthly events where we got sponsorship, and generally a hotel or a hospitable venue would then provide us with the venue and some food and drink. Believe it or not, we actually didn't pay anything for those events. We got major sponsorship purely because we were bringing in targeted clients for the hotel. We would give them a platform to be able to get them exposed to potential clients. And then what would happen is that we would develop a relationship over time with that individual. And then they would then introduce us to their boss, right? And then that's how we then effectively got our leg in the doorway. And obviously, it's the only one of the very few industries in the world which is mainly females, believe it or not. Okay, you don't get really many male-dominated executive or personal assistants, but it's a female-orientated industry. And so it was just a really great thing. And so the reason why I got that award is purely because we were empowering women more in particular. But number two is that we were facilitating a series of events that would help them learn and grow themselves, increase their confidence, and being able to increase their self-value more than anything else. Self-worth and self-value. If you've got those two things, you then combine that with increased confidence, and then you can say, "Do you know what? I'm worthy. I can actually take your job. I can fulfill the role of the senior management role and go for it." So that's what it's about, and that's how the award kind of took place, and that's why we continue to support women as we go along.
So, well, in name of the women, I really appreciate this, first of all, because I love to elevate people who are not in the how you say that, not in the audience or not in sight, right? So it's really good when underrepresented groups get someone who is elevating them, like the PAs, because they just do amazing works. Right? I saw powerhouse ladies doing so much work for communities, for companies, and they are never mentioned. It's like I always say that, oh, who built this road? Because the road builders, they never got like appreciation for building us these roads, which are making it possible for us to commute around the countries, right? It's just there are simple jobs which makes our life like possible, because otherwise we couldn't just do anything, and we don't appreciate. It's the same like the frontliners. Now they are appreciated that because they are nurses and doctors, but before you don't appreciate them. You have to have a situation to elevate and lift them up. And I think one or two things that I found very powerful in this, what you told just right now, is the gatekeepers, like getting leads and getting connections and networking. This is really important to keep like really good relationships with the gatekeepers. Absolutely. Right?
100%.
So that's something, it's really important if you network. And the other one is the appreciation. So give appreciations to everyone, whoever you meet, because you never know how your relationship will elevate and how you can help each other in the future. So these are amazing points, Adam, and thank you for that. So Gita is also saying super innovative association of women PEs. So she's also appreciating it. Let's go further. You are also doing impact work. Now all around the world, impact hubs are popping up like little mushrooms and trying to help people who want to have some purpose, like businesses. And I heard a lot of people talking about changing the whole ecosystem and creating all these impact hub based kind of existence of people as a society. So why do you think it's so important to create purpose-driven companies, and what makes them more impactful?
Yeah, well, there's two questions there. Now the first question is why purpose-driven companies or organizations, right? Well, so statistics have now proved that, and I quoted this in my new book, is that companies that are more purpose-driven actually are more profitable than those that are not. So what do I mean by purpose? Well, purpose is about realizing why you exist, okay? It's about what's the reason why I exist, okay? It's about really kind of questioning that, and what is the big why factor? Why do we coexist, and for what reasons? And what's the end result for people? So if you can really understand the purpose in you as individuals and as you as business owners, and how they align together, what that's going to do is it's going to increase your profitability twofold, because I see a lot of, especially smaller businesses and entrepreneurs, is they are wearing way too many hats. They are trying to do everything and serve everybody, become completely overwhelmed and not knowing when to say no. Okay, really, really important. So for me, there is a lot of strong evidence to say that, you know what, purpose-driven companies, something which is, if you're more, the question you have to ask yourself is, if I feel like I have a purpose in the globe or in the world, if I am more aligned, I'm going to love what I do, I'm going to be more passionate at what I do, I'm going to be more energetic with what I do, then guess what? I'm going to earn more money purely because, and naturally, not forcefully, but naturally, I'm going to earn more money. My company is going to earn more money. That is the way it works. And there are some great examples of that. For example, with Whole Foods, with Nike, even the big corporations have embraced the power of purpose. And you can see that their profitability is just they're right up there. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yes, that's really something that I wanted to get out of this. So thank you very much for summing it up. And I think it's also very important to mention that if you have your impact and your purpose, right, you are attracting like-minded people. So you're to you, because it's so clear why you are here in the world, and you are so good in that, like building communities. So my next question would be about your communities. So what's the secret of building great communities? What is working for you? Because you see now Facebook, there are community apps like popping up again, where people can create their own communities, and everyone is trying to optimize it in a way so that it's helping the community to grow. So kind of what is your secret, Adam, in community building?
Well, there's a number of things, really. First of all, I would probably say, which I think is crucial, making sure that what you're doing on a daily basis match. So you're going to, I call them tribes. So a tribe and community is slightly different. And there could be an internal tribe and there could be an external tribe or whatever, right? So when you run a small business, you generally run a tribe. If you run a large organization, it's generally different departments, and it's tribe of tribes, which are then aligned. So in order to really create a tribe, a really sort of fulfilling tribe, there's got to be synchronicity between you and the individuals. There's got to be like a vision. There's got to be a vision and a mission attached to that, because if there is a vision and a mission, people know that where they're going towards. Does that make sense? And then they go back to their own personal values and they think to themselves, does what this say align to what I want to achieve in life? Does that make sense? And this is how you then create champions that are going to promote your brand. I call them torch bearers. So we've got torch bearers, field recruits, and what was the other one? Ambassadors. So there are three main differences. So you've got your field recruits that champion, they love your brand, they love what you stand for. Then you've got your torch bearers, which essentially are people that doesn't matter what you offer them, they'll buy it because they really believe what you said to believe, and they're going to deliver the results that you're going to do what you say you do. And then the last one, which is ambassadors, which is effectively, if I'm doing an event with a big influencer or thought leader, they'll then use their own social media platforms or their own tribe of people to then tell them about me. Yes, for building relationships and stuff like that. So really super important to do that. And then you've got this like communication as well. So yeah, really, really important. So yeah, so that to me is super important. We've got a great tribe actually on Facebook. It's not the biggest one, but what's important for me is quality over quantity more than anything else. So there you go.
That's actually something that is really like a good word to use here, like torch bearers, right? That's what you used. And also I love the aspect of the brand ambassadors, like the people, because it makes employment, for example, for companies and recruiting so much easier, that you just put yourself out there. What's your purpose? And attracting immediately the people who can be your brand ambassadors. And this makes it so much easier for companies. And the third thing, when you find like-minded people, like brand ambassadors, it can help you to spread the word about your own things and the activity, and together you will reach a wider audience, right? So that's really, really important. So we could, I guess, talk for more hours and hours and hours. We are already speaking like for 1 hour, exactly 57 minutes. So I will not take you more, because I know that you are very, very busy. So I have 2-3 questions more left about, mainly, I know that you are very busy and today people are struggling with work-life integration. So how do you relax? How do you find your peace? And what do you do to make sure that you are not burnt out with all the things what you do?
Good question. And it was a really, it was an epiphany that I came to the realization about, again, asking yourself, what do you want in life? So there are 4 things that I make sure that if I'm not doing these 4 things, it's going to be completely irrelevant. So the 4 main things for me is, am I having fun? Okay, so that's first important, really important to have. You've got to have fun. Secondly, I've got to feel free. So freedom is like, it's going to help me release my energy or whatever it is. Thirdly, family. Because at the end of the day, like for me, I've got 4 kids. Family's super important. So I've got to make sure that they're looked after as well as running my own business. And the last thing, super important, happiness. If you're not happy with what you do, guess what? Change it, because you can bitch, moan, and complain about where you're at right now. But the reality is that it's down to you. Your choices, you put yourself in this position, therefore you change it. That's my analogy. Take personal responsibility.
Perfect advice. And then once again, as you said, these are things that we do from experience. We already experienced it. We found out that it's working for us, but there is always a cautious announcement here that you have to find your ways, right? That's why this show is also called It's Your Way. So we are not here to tell you what you will do and how you should do it. We just try to inspire you to find your way so that you are not lost in this world of disruption. And the last thing I think I would like to tell to you and to ask a little bit, we didn't really talk exactly about what you do. So this is kind of like the place where you could explain what you do and how and why can people turn to you as an expert. So tell us about your profession a little bit and some call to actions. What can they do after this call if they want to reach you?
Sure. Thanks very much for asking. I appreciate it. What do we do? So we mainly work with 6 to 7 figure professional business owners that essentially want to create purposeful, fun, scalable, and impactful businesses for the future. So I really like working with those types of people that want to create those things. So that's essentially what we do. We have a year program, which is an accelerator program, which we're actually doing right now. And we're going through those. We've got some great modules. And at the end of that, the whole goal is for people to increase their profitability and grow their business. That's the goal for the program. We've actually got a great tool that I think you guys will really enjoy. We've actually got a great scorecard that I just think is a great tool. It's about 40 odd questions, 35, 40 questions and thereabouts. Really simple questions, yes, no answers. But at the end of that, you get a free report. And what I love about this is that it gives you a tool which is tangible that you can go away and you can think to yourself, you know what? This is definitely something that I can go away with. That it's a working document, and then I can work towards improving my scores in particular areas. So we look at 5 different areas, from clarity to identity to monetization. I can't remember all of them, but anyway, there are 5 key areas, and those are the 5 key areas that you need in order to create a more fun, purposeful, and scalable business. So I'm just trying to think of what the URL is now. Oh, that's right. It's gamechangers.scoreapp.com, I think, or something like that. I probably got that completely incorrectly. But what I'll do is I'll reach out to you, Andrea, and give you the URL.
Yeah, just give me the URL and I will put it in the comments on YouTube and on Facebook, so people can reach you directly from the comments if they watch it later. And I think we are perfectly on time, and it was a complex and then very complete conversation about all the things that you do about making a profitable, impactful, and purpose-driven business with, I think, also the aspect of a healthy person with values and boundaries and aligned with the path and the purpose that they are doing. So it's amazing. Thank you very much for this. And we always say goodbye with a final message to the audience in 2021. Everyone is struggling. Everyone is anxious. So what's your uplifting message here at the end of the show for the people listening to us?
Implement, take action, don't sit on the fence, make different choices. If it's not working, then analyze your life and do something which you are more purpose driven towards something. So, but that to me is, I'm a big thing in terms of speed of implementation and execution. So don't just sit on the fence and just take it all in. And if you've been writing notes, which you should have been anyway, don't let those notes gather dust and collect on the shelf. So I would just say that.
Hey, you guys, I just want to say thank you so much for listening in to this episode of the Game Changers Experience. I hope that you got some amazing value, some great insights, and golden nuggets that you can implement into your business straight away. I would really, really appreciate it if you could leave a 5-star review on the button below. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.